Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're finally getting around to the little brother versus the big brothers Pirate Alliance Blitz battle that is live from the 3rd of March to the 5th of March. Now, I have been out all night, so unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to actually play the event, but in today's video, I do have 3 teams for you guys that utilize the boosted characters that aren't the new batch. So if you guys scroll down to this event, it has a whole bunch of information on the ranking stuff for the alliances, for the personal ranking, all that stuff. However, if you get right down the bottom here, it explains that you get a whole bunch of extra points depending on the characters you bring. And obviously, Ace and Luffy are a 2 times booster. And then you have the 2 new rare recruits that are 1.3 times. You have the new point farmed Yamato at 1.25 times points. Then you have the free-to-play treasure map Ezo, the 6+ of CatDog and Perispero at 1.2 times. I do imagine not a lot of people have Perispero, but a lot of people should have 6+ Cat Viper and Dogstorm. Everyone should have Ezo. Everyone should definitely have Yamato. So we will be pretty much including Yamato on every single team that you guys see in today's video. I do have a team that uses these 3, Yamato, Ezo, and CatDog. The second team is basically not going to use CatDog, and then the third team won't use Ezo if you guys missed that treasure map for whatever reason. But if you guys want to see a video with these particular units later down the line, I can happily oblige there. But basically, if you have the 2 new air recruits, you just want to bring them on the team, and they will just take care of stage like 6 for you. Like it's actually crazy. Be mindful as well, this Blitz is a 7-stage event, basically to work with Luffy. And as you can see, you have a bunch of 1.1 times boost. So these are the characters that we're going to tap into here, but we're also going to use these free-to-play characters up the top here. So if you enjoyed the video, it helps you out, make sure to build the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the big gray subscribe button. But with that said, let's dive in. Alrighty, Rooney. So the first team is led by the Pirate King Goldie Roger. As I mentioned, we have Ezo, we have Yamato, and we have CatDog, and we are using a friend captain Luffy. So that's the team. There are no supports. Let's dive on in. Now, the final unit for this particular team is the local sea monster. But like I said, if you guys have the new rare recruits, just replace the local sea monster and Ezo on this team with those 2 new rare recruits, and you are going to be in very good stead. Every single turn for this particular team, we are going to have to switch with Neko and Inu. The reason I'm going to switch with Neko and Inu is because we need to get their super switch available by stage 6. Because you get a full board of negative orbs, and I couldn't find a way to bring an orb enabler on this particular team. I tried some supports, but if you guys know anything, please let me know in the comment section below to make this team just a little bit smoother. But easy way to do it is just to keep switching with Neko and Inu every single turn, and that way you are going to get their super switch available as well. So I think you want to start as Dogstorm for this particular fight as well. I don't know if I changed that. I might have forgot. But if you start as Dogstorm, you'll switch into Cat Viper when necessary. So that way when you use the super switch, you are going to be going into the Cat Viper variation. Very important that you do that, but if you guys have investment, as you guys will see with this particular setup, it's really not that big of a deal. On stage 4, you come up against Curly Dedan. They don't really do anything. They just have low HP. You can kill them over 2 turns, kill them over 3 turns. I think they just do like a bit of a HP cut on entry. On stage 5, we come up against Garp, and Garp is going to give us bind on our right-hand side. But because this is a 7-star quest, Luffy is basically going to have his stage 2 passive live. We've killed so many enemies, we've passed so many turns, that by the final stage, we actually have his 30 accumulative buffs. And he is just the best unit to bring for this particular fight. Like, if you can, bring a Kid Luffy. He just works exceptionally well as a friend captain. We are going to use his special on stage 5, so that way we can carry it into the final stage. Garm has this new buff that reduces the potency and or duration of certain effects. It doesn't apply to verse effects. I'm not 100% sure what this does, but if you guys have more information, please let me know in the comment section below as well. So we are just basically going to take out good old Garpy boy here. I'm going to finish him off there. This is a little bit orb RNG, I guess, for this particular stage. But you can easily do your switch abilities of Neko and Inu to make that a little bit easier. But on stage 6, you come up against Ace, and he does 2 different things. You get 5 turns of attack down, and he puts up 4 turns of defense up. Or he does 4 turns of thresholds, and gives you a bunch of despair or paralysis. It's one of the 2. But basically with the captains of Luffy and Roger, you get around the despair, you get around the paralysis, you get around the bind. And then to get around the attack down, we have Neko and Inu. So we're going to super switch with Neko and Inu first. They're going to remove those negative orbs. The negative orbs always turn up no matter what. We can use the Neko Inu special there. And then to remove the defense up and the threshold, you have the local sea monster. Local Sea Monster is just so good. They're gonna remove both of them, but Izo can also remove Threshold too. Next, we're gonna finish it off with the Yamato special. Yamato's just gonna give us that carryover buff. No real reason why we're not gonna be using Yamato there. You can use her on the final stage. You can use it here. It just means it's just easier to kill Ace on this particular stage. This particular team can take care of both variations, but if you are struggling, please let me know in the comment section below, and we'll see if we can tweak something out. But on the final stage against Ace and Sabo, they are going to put up that buff that Garp has. They give us 3 turns of paralysis so that we don't have to worry about. They give us block orbs in our top and bottom row, and then Ace will turn into an int character. He also does a whole bunch of damage on entry, gives you bind, which that Luffy can take care of, and you get special reverse. But it doesn't matter too much here because your captains don't get special reversed. So basically, we're just going to bink our Roger special there. We're going to use the Roger super type because we have Neko and Ino on the team, so we can activate that. It's going to remove the block orbs, and then basically from here, we're just going to absolutely decimate this particular stage. So as you guys will see here, bada bing, bada boom, bada bop. See you later there, Ace, and then we're going to go see you later there, Sabo. So when Sabo dies, he does a whole bunch of damage. It's really not that huge of a damage attack, but it is around 15k, so just be careful depending on how much HP you have. You shouldn't have an issue, but you can always use Yamato on the final stage to give yourself that threshold buff if you are struggling to tank that. So that was the team that uses like all of the top booster characters that aren't the new units. Obviously, it does need Roger as captain, but it does work very, very well. Let's move on to the next team where we're not using Neko Inu. So for the next team, we're not using Neko and Inu, and we're also not using Roger. So if you guys are missing out on Roger and you were a bit of a lazy bum during the Kazuna and you don't have Neko Inu 6+, this particular team can work for you, but as you can see, we have a whole bunch of hefty supports. But that's the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive... Oh, let me do that. Let's dive on in. So as you can see, we do have some pretty like crazy supports here. We have Jozu, we have Kobe for attack down, we have Luffy on Yamato for more attack down. We have the Treasure Map Rare Recruit Dogstorm for a defense up removal. And then we also have what's his name? The Rare Recruit Usopp on Frankie. The Rare Recruit Usopp is really, really good. Really did this is where auto is so friggin' annoying, man. I'm just gonna actually tap. The Rare Recruit Usopp on Frankie is great to get around the negative orbs on stage 6. You get a whole bunch of recovery orbs, and it actually gives you a lot of HP, which is super nice. Because we do need to be able to tank that final shot, and with this particular team, we do need to use Izo to get around the threshold. So, as I mentioned, this team isn't using Neko and Inu, so we have to remove a whole bunch of attack down with supports, which isn't challenging to do. It's just a little bit finicky with what you need to bring, and it doesn't give you a lot of leeway when it comes to flexibility of team building. So, it is what it is, but this particular team, like I said, will be up your alley if you're missing something like Roger, or if you're missing that 6+ and you're super lazy for Kazuna. On stage 4 against Dan, we're just going to switch with our Sabo. That's basically going to give us some matching orbs on our Luffy and our Izo. The real reason we want to be doing this though is giving us color affinity, so that way we can easily take that stage out in one turn. On to the next stage against Garp. We're going to remove the bind with the Luffy captain ability. That's pretty much all Garp does, and we don't really have to worry about anything else from there. As you can see, you actually lose color affinity, so with Garp, if you do an attack boost or you do a color affinity boost, he's actually going to reduce it. So there you go. That actually answers that question. So super interesting with this new particular buff. So just be mindful of that when you do see it. That if you do use a color affinity or an attack boost, because you can see the little symbol under the eyes, you're not going to be able to. I think it's kind of like a red Haki. If you use like that type of buff, it just sort of gets removed by a certain amount of turns. On to Ace now. We get the full border unfavorable orbs. Like I said, there's 2 different variations. There's the attack down and the defense up variation, or there's the despair and the threshold variation. To get around the defense up variation and the attack down variation, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of supports there. But to get around the defense up, we're going to be utilizing the Frankie special, and then with the support of Dogstorm, you just need to hit a perfect with Izo Kiku. To get around the threshold, though, you'll actually utilize the Izo Kiku special. That's going to remove threshold there. I'm just going to do it just to show you guys that like this can be done very easily. And then we're going to use the special of Yamato on this particular stage as well. After that, basically, we're just going to tap our perfects, and we should be able to kill here. You really want to try and eat these meat orbs. Remember, with Luffy, you can hit perfects, and you can actually eat your meat orbs. Because Ace does damage on entry of the next stage, plus Sabo also does death damage. So you want to do have some chunky HP. You need to be up around 15,000. It's not a huge amount of HP, but just be mindful of that. So getting those recovery orbs from Usopp is actually very important, because as I mentioned, Izo is going to reduce that HP. On the final stage, you get paralysis and block orbs on your top and bottom row. Paralysis gets removed by Luffy, which is awesome. Ace turns into an in-character, which helps us out drastically. You take a bunch of damage, they try and blind you, and that's pretty much all that they really do. On this final stage, you can't use a color affinity buff, and you can't use an attack buff, if I remember correctly. So it is a little bit of a bummer there, but to get around the block orbs, we're basically just going to pop our Ace and Sabo special, and then we can utilize the super type of Luffy. Super type of Luffy is just going to make the fighter characters hit just that little bit harder. Plus, you do get cooldowns because you do get special reroll for this particular stage. But for this fight, we are going to use our Garp special. Now, we are going to lose 1 turn of the attack down, but Garp actually gives us 2 turns of attack down, which is great. But not only that, Garp gives us a full border orbs, either Psi or recovery. So you get an attack boost with Garp. He triggers the super type of Luffy. He works out super hunky-dory here. And then basically what we're just going to do here is just take out the little brothers. Remember, you have the carryover effect of Frankie giving us the color affinity buff. And as you can see there, not a huge amount of problems taking down this particular fight with this particular variation. You don't get as many points because you don't have Cat Viper and Dogstorm on the team. But the idea of this is to make sure that you are that you don't have Cat Viper and Dogstorm. Something to note too is you do need to make sure that you are Ace moving into stage 6, so that way you can actually remove the despair. So just be mindful of that. As you can see, 3.99 compared to the 4.34 I think we had. So it is a huge difference having Cat Viper. Let's move on to the final team now, and hopefully that works. Alright, so for the final team, we're utilizing Sugar with Luffy once again, and this particular team is a little bit interesting. We are using level limit break 5 Pudding and level limit break 5 Sugar, but I don't know how necessary that actually is. So that's the team. There are no supports. Let's dive on in now. So I finally got the Sabo variation of stage 6, and he actually gives you paralysis and 2 turns of despair. So this team will actually work even if you don't have Pudding level limit break 5. However, you do need a way to get around the paralysis because Luffy actually gets despaired. So you will need either the Izo Kiku support, or you'll need to use the super swap of CatDog. Then you need to save the Yamato special for that stage. I do state later on that you don't need the Yamato special, but you definitely do if you do end up getting that Sabo variation. So just be mindful of that. But this team, it definitely will work. I don't know how necessary those 2 level 5s are going to be, but the idea of this particular team was to do it without Izo and without Izo. So if you were super lazy, or you just went around for this treasure map and you have been playing the game, you might have taken up breaks and just said, screw Izo. This particular team should work fairly nicely. However, you can bring some of those other characters over. The downside to bringing Sugar is we don't have any real despair removal. So you have to bring a character that can actually remove despair. And that's sort of where I brought Pudding. Now, Pudding's great because not only does she remove despair, but she also removes block orbs and unfavorable slots. So the big reason that I did bring her is to not only remove that despair, but to also give us some matching orbs. The downside is I don't know how many turns of despair it is, because I've only ran Roger and I've only ran Ace. So hopefully we do get the despair variation and we can test that. But if we don't, please let me know in the comment section below if that despair is more than 2 turns to 3 turns. Because if it is, then Pudding is going to have a real hard time. She's going to have a real hard time. However, as you guys saw, there are no supports for this particular team. So there may be a support option for Pudding to get some despair removal. So whatever despair removals you can actually put on this team, definitely do so. Hopefully Ace does the despair here. He doesn't. He gave us the attack down again. Let's be on. I imagine that it's probably going to be around like 3. So a little bit annoying there. But like I said, if there's a whole bunch of despair removers, you can definitely put them on this particular team. That should do the trick. But to get around the attack down, we have Neko and Inu once again. To get around the defense up in the threshold, we do have our boy local sea monster. And then on this team as well, by the way, you actually don't need to use the Yamato special at all. You can use it earlier if you like. That's going to basically give you a it's going to give you more damage to just take down those fodder stages, but as you guys saw, like, it's really not necessary. I swear there is another stage Ace, by the way. Like, it's just that we're just getting crazy, like, unluckily lucky with what variation we are getting. But on the final stage, we get block orbs on our top row, and our bottom row we get paralysis and special reverse. Pudding can also get around special reverse. That's a huge up to actually bringing that unit. You take some damage. Ace turns into an int character. You cop bind, you have to worry about, and they also don't let you use an attack, orb, or color affinity boost. Well, they'll reduce it by 1 turn. But the beautiful thing about utilizing Pudding is she's not, like, affected by interrupts. So, well, actually, she's still affected by that new buff. But with level limit break 5, she actually gives you 2 turns of the buff. So that actually comes in super clutch that you can actually get the 2 turns. Because Ace and Sabo are going to remove one of those turns. Basically, then you just turn everyone into bears with Sugar. Sugar's going to give you an attack boost. With level limit break 5, I think she does the attack boost. And then basically everyone just dies. And there you guys go. So there's 3 teams for you guys to take down the new Blitz Battle 40 Stamina event. Ideally, if you guys are missing the batch, try and use that first team that you guys saw if you have Roger. It's going to work exceptionally well. And if you do have the rare recruits, you can just put them in on the team over the Sea Monster and the Ezo character. And then if you even have Ace and Luffy, obviously you're just going to run Ace Luffy with the rare recruits. If you guys have Luffy and the rare recruits and you're looking for something, you could easily, like, just put Luffy over Roger, or even just replace something like the Yamato down the bottom as well. Yamato gives more points than Cap Viper and Dogstorm, but, like, you're going to have to make the sacrifice somewhere, right? So, again, 3.99 points isn't terrible, but it's not the best. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, or you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly, though, if you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!